easily understanding hue, value, and saturation, and how to locate tints, shades, and tones within software. So within Illustrator or Photoshop, there's an area called the color picker. And there are other areas within both of these programs where you can select colors, but for working with color, this is probably one of the best areas because it's arranging colors in a way that relates to color theory. So what we're going to do is click on this fill button right here on the toolbar. It works the same way in Illustrator and Photoshop, and it opens up the color picker. So let's just take a look at it, the interface here. In the center here, what we have is this ribbon of color, and this is actually our hue selection in here. Hues are essentially just different colors, and you can see here as I slide this bar down that what I'm doing is on the left-hand interface I am changing the overall hue. See that? So the next thing that is really important to know about the color picker is that in this area right here, where once I've selected the hue, let's say this purple color right here, everything else within this whole area, even though it seems like there's a lot of different variations of color, they're all based on this particular hue that I've chosen initially. So everything is this purple color, this specific purple color. It's all just variations here. So you know when you're in the color picker, wherever you choose your hue, you can actually then just choose from one specific area, and you know you're always in the same identical hue. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is saturation. Saturation relates to the brightness or intensity or the purity of a color. And if we click in the upper right-hand corner, right here, what we're getting is the most saturated, maximum saturated color for this particular hue. So when an assignment asks you for maximum saturation, always select from this upper right-hand corner, and you know for sure no matter what color you're in that you're going to have the most saturated version of that color. Okay, so then what we'll do is we'll try to look at how to then locate tints. Tints, as you probably know if you read in the online lecture or the reading, is a color that has only white added to it. So if we look at the color picker, that area would be in the very top here. So let's just click through here. So right now what I'm doing is I'm going to hug really close to the top. What I'm doing is adding only white into my purple, and I'm creating tints of that purple. So even when I get to that corner, I'm going to try to get as close as I can to this corner. Notice how white this looks. Some people will call it a white, but it actually is, if you open up the color picker, it actually is a tint of this particular purple. So we really actually don't have, white is a sort of a default color. Everything really is, whites are really just tints, and you can always find that the underlying hue for any particular white. So notice also when I generate the tints that what I'm doing is I'm creating a lighter value. So this upper left-hand corner is also where you get the lightest values of any color. Okay, so let's take a look at shades. So shades are the addition of black, and again we're going to start at our maximum saturation upper right-hand corner, and we're just going to go down this little corridor to the right, and what I'm doing here is I'm creating a darker and darker shade, adding in black, creating a darker value. And if I stay along this little corridor here, I'm going to have a true shade. So that's where your shades are. Everything else pretty much in the color picker is a tone, and a good way to remember what a tone is a toned down version of a color. It's the addition of black and white. So whenever you're trying to get a tone, you want to look outside of the tints and shades area, and you know that you'll be in a toned down or desaturated part of the color picker. And again, there's a lot of variation here. There's lighter tones with more white, there's darker tones with more black, there's sort of a mid-range here that has a nice kind of balance of black and white. All right, so I hope that's been helpful.